Freedom is prison, if there's still anyone on earth in chains. Welcome to my book review channel, Literature for Life, a channel that is geared towards social responsibility and personal growth. This beautiful quote comes from this small but very impressive book by the French philosopher and writer Alberts Camus. It's called either The Just or The Just Assassin, a beautiful written play in 5 acts that goes deep into the human mind and the betterment of society. He raises some very philosophical questions like, does the ends justify the means? Is it plausible to use violence to make society better or more bearable for the weak ones? In this book, we follow a group of revolutionaries in the context of the Russian Revolution that took place in the beginning of the 20th century. But although it's given told in a specific context and time, this book is relevant for all countries and all epochs because it deals with some very essential, very humane societal issues. So this book is relevant for all times, and maybe especially in the time we're living in, given the recent terror attacks and the rising again of the debate and the cartoons about Prophet Muhammad. So this small but very intense book is a book that I would highly recommend. What we do follow in this small play or book is 5 revolutionaries who have conversations about a plot. They are plotting to assassinate or kill a government official. He's a symbol of the Tsarist regime at that time in Russia, and they want to kill him in the hope that his death will mean a better society for the Russian people and to encourage a regime change. These 5 or 6 revolutionaries have very good conversations that really reflect the nature of the change in society and the use of violence, because they want to kill this government official. But are there any limits to the use of violence? Can we create a better society using violence? Is violence ever justified? These are big, great, important philosophical questions that are being raised in this book. And what is so beautiful about this book is that these questions are not only relevant for a revolutionary context, they are very much relevant for the lives we have today, even in the so-called peaceful democracies, because we are experiencing dynamics and polarization, especially here in Europe and the United States, where it's very difficult for people from different backgrounds and religions to meet and to understand each other. Therefore, I will really highly recommend this book. I will now, in a short bit, read some quotes from this book just to give you an insight into what these conversations are all about, and then I will remark on those comments. See you in a bit. Freedom is still prison as long as there is still anyone in chains. What does the whole world matter if we are strong enough to impose ourselves on them and save them from themselves and from their slavery? We kill just to build a world where no one will ever have to kill again. We accept our being criminals so that the earth can finally be covered with innocence. To kill children is without honor, and if someday in my life the revolution separates itself from honor, I will turn away from it. Nothing is prohibited which can help our cause. I think these few quotes just really give you a good insight into what this play is all about and why it's so important and so relevant that we read this play. I specifically like the fact that it's all about society, it's about change, and it's about the means that we use to create a better society. And just to relate it to something very specific, The recent events we have been witnessing with the beheading of a school teacher in France and the increasing Islamophobia, it forces us to rethink our position and to ask ourselves really what goes through the mind of a person that beheads another person for the sake of religion or for the sake of having felt shame. And here, on the other side, is it really worth all the symbolic violence that is being done towards Muslims by justifying it with freedom of expression? I mean, is it really sometimes to use violence, whether it's real beheading and blood or whether it's symbolic violence that comes through media propaganda or portraying those that we experience as being other than us, as being less human beings, as being backward, as being terrorist, rapists, or whatever. This book inspires the great conversations that we need to have here within the European frontiers, and the dynamics and the integration issues we have between minorities and the majorities. I mean, it's extremely important that everybody on this divide really looks inside to themselves and asks themselves these questions, because we cannot have any change in society unless everybody really held themselves accountable for their own deeds first, and then next those they experience as being the others. So it's very important, especially in these times where feelings are getting overheated, and we all know when feelings are being overheated and when we are carried away by our feelings, our rational faculties diminish by the minute and by the hour. So this book is really a good moment of taking a breath and really to reflect on what's going on. Why is it that we see violence being used to create better society? And that violence is not just only understood as bombs and knives and beheadings or whatever, but also the symbolic violence we human beings unfortunately use against each other, and which can be as harmful as a bomb or as a knife. So I really do hope that I have inspired you to read this book, which is more relevant today maybe than it has ever been before, by the great philosopher Alberts Camus, who was himself a very troubled figure because he was being seen either as a pro-imperialist and as an anti-democrat. Well, that's enough from me today. I have nothing much else to say other than peace and take care of yourself, and do read.